Tim Effect is in the building. What's up, my man? Art. Good morning, Art. Good morning. It's good night. Good evening. I'm used to seeing you on Aldo's channel in the morning, Art. How's everybody doing? So I just got done doing some bench pressing, and now I'm gonna roll into some dips and some push-ups. So the bench press, as always, was a warm up. I did a little time on the elliptical, and then I did some stretching, and then the bench press went. We started off at 140 for 8 reps, 165 for 5 reps, 185 for 3 reps, 195 for 2 reps. Those were basically the warm up sets. And then I did a 5x5 with 210. So 5 reps of 5. And then I went back down the ladder. So it was, again, I finished with 195 at 2 reps, 185 at 3 reps, 165 at 5 reps, 140 at 8 reps. So that was the bench press part. Now I'm going to jump into some dips. And I think we're going to alternate that with, I'll do a weighted set and then go into a body weight set, 10 reps. So I just started out, I did one set weighted with 25 pounds. I'll do a set of body weight, 10 reps body weight. How'd you do with that storm, Art? I'm up in northern Jersey. I got about, it was about a foot and a half, give or take. What's up, Penguin? Appreciate you being here. Tim, how much snow did you get, Tim? So I'm just going to go about a minute and a half, guys, in between sets on this. With the bench pressing, I was doing about 2.5 minutes rest between each set on that. Hit 35 pounds on this set, guys. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Tim, you're probably still shoveling, brother. I'm sure you're still shoveling out. Art, how much snow did you get? What's up, Black Cat? Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. 30 degrees? When's the last time you saw that down there? What is that, Maya? Myzag? Appreciate you being here. Doing dips, we're alternating between weighted sets and body weight sets. The last set was 35 pounds. Next set we'll do body weight just for 10 reps. We already did a bench press set, so now we're doing the dips. Probably finish up with some push-ups. Okay, next set we're gonna go to, that was body weight. Obviously, we're gonna go to 45 pounds with the dips. Yeah, I'm hit and miss with the dips, Cat. Some days I feel it more so in the elbows. I just try and gauge the workout by that, you know. Today, don't get old, you guys. Whatever you do, just don't get old. Um, but they feel okay today. They were okay, and I didn't really go crazy with the bench. Like I said, I maxed out at 210, but I inched my way up 140, 165, 185, 195. Just to gauge things, you know, because I feel it differently. Sometimes I feel it more in the shoulder. So, especially when I lean forward with the dip. So we'll see how it goes with the weighted. All right, so this next set will be 45 pounds. See how many reps we get. I have the belt on with my bench press routine. What I like to do is, like I said, I was resting pretty much like 2.5 minutes between each set on the bench, but I get antsy, so I do usually do jumping jacks in between each set of bench press, 25 jumping jacks. So what I do, I did about 15 sets on the bench, so probably 15, whatever it was, 17 sets of jumping jacks. I don't want to do them with this belt on, but I like to do that just to keep my heart rate up throughout. Okay, that was 45. Yeah, Tim's down in sunny Florida. Wish the hell I was down there, at least for a couple of days. Give me a couple of days. I was out last night. I started shoveling, snow blowing, probably like 9 o'clock last night. Still coming down a little bit, but I wanted to get. I didn't want to wake up in the morning and have to do it. I wouldn't have slept. I just would have been tossing and turning all night thinking about it. But so I got out there a little after 9. I got done probably 1 in the morning, and had to actually go back out in the morning. But it was just maybe like another inch of snow that had fallen like throughout the night. So I was glad I got it done. But yeah, give me a couple of days down in Florida, Tim. I'll be a happy man if I never see another snowflake in my life. To be honest with you. All right, so that last set was 45 pounds. So now we'll just do a body weight set. You're absolutely right, Kat. And that's the problem, right? People say, I have this ailment, so I can't move. You have that ailment because most of the time you don't move. You know, that's what it is. And people get injured. You know, you have to If you have an injury, you have to heal, you have to rehab yourself. But people just sit on the couch and say, I can't do anything because I injured this, my elbow or my knee or this or that. Movement, you have to move. You have to keep moving. It's like any piece of machinery. If you just leave it sitting, you leave your car in the driveway. People go, I have to go start my car. I haven't, I don't want the gaskets to dry out and this and that. Yet you'll do that to your body. People put more effort into taking care of their cars and whatever else they have, all of their material shit. They put all their effort into that and zero into this. I don't get. I just don't get it. Burpees and chill. Thanks for popping in, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, but you're right, Kat. You got to keep moving. That's the key. That's the key. My friend Tim Effect will tell you a little something about that. Tim Tim makes the Energizer Bunny look lazy. Tim puts the Energizer Bunny to shame. That dude's an inspiration. Make sure you go check out Tim. We'll try 55 on this set, guys. Okay, that was 55. That's right, Tim. All you gotta do is the best you can do with what you have right where you're at. And like Kat said, it's the movement. Some kind of movement. Freshy's in the house. What's up, Fresh? Hope you're doing well, brother. Haven't been live in a minute, so haven't seen most of you guys. Uh, so yeah, guys, the dips are a great exercise. It's a great upper body exercise. For quite some time, I got away from way back in the day when I was a gym bro. You always had a bench press, barbell bench press. And I got away from that for quite a while. For quite a few years, I was doing basically, if I did any bench pressing, it was dumbbells. And especially when I got more into calisthenics, I kind of got away from both. Uh, but the past few months, actually longer than that, maybe it was like last summer, I think I got back into hitting the bench press a little bit, the barbell bench press. Nowhere near what I used to do. Like I said, today I maxed out it. I did a 5 by 5 with only 210 pounds. Um, so, but I still like, I don't like to give up on the dips. I always want to get some dips in. And there are some days where I won't even do the bench press. I'll just do like all dips. And of course, the push ups. You got to do your push ups, right? But really, what do they call the dip? The dip is the upper body squat. And you feel it everywhere. It's not, it's a pressing movement, it's a push movement, but it's not just triceps. It's really everything. I feel it. My traps, my back, my arm, my triceps, my chest certainly. Uh, when I have this weight, my whole body is tensed up. I feel it in my core. So it's a great upper body exercise. So you really should be doing your dips, weighted or not. Body weight. And then if you can't, you always have the bands for assistance. You strap that band across the bar. You hold on to it. You put your knee in there, and you do your reps with your bands, and you build yourself up. Same thing. We always say the same thing with pull-ups, right? Anybody who's ever benched 300 pounds, they didn't walk into the gym on day one and bench 300 pounds, right? They started with whatever, 75 pounds, whatever they started with, and you build yourself up. And even if you have a problem doing dips, with assistance, just get up there and do it. Just do a static hold, right? Just come up here and do your static holds to build up strength, right? You'll come up, boom, and just hold this top position, okay? And then you work on just letting yourself down as slow as you can. If you got to take a break, boom, we'll back up. And we're coming down. And it's just like it's everything. It's a process, right? Cutting back on the carbs, bro. Thanks, Tim. You know I'm trying to keep up with you, my brother. You know I'm always doing. Yeah, Cat. I mean, yeah, the bench dips, right? Where you lean, you have the bench, but I don't have the bench set up to do it. But yeah, you can do your bench dips, and rather than have your body straight out that way, you will just bring your feet and plant them on the floor, right? And that's going to make it an easier push. It's everything's a process. You build yourself up. Macho, that's what I appreciate you being here, brother. I appreciate you tuning in. Um, but first of all, 53, you're just a kid. You're just a kid. You got a long way to go. Overweight or not, everybody starts somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? Don't be down on yourself. And we do that. We compare ourselves to other people. Well, that guy's doing this, and everybody started at zero or whatever, wherever they had a starting point, right? And calisthenics is a great way to go. There's no bullshit excuses. I don't have time to drive to the gym. I can't afford a gym or this or that. I'm here in my basement, right? I have my dip bar, but even if I didn't have that, like I said, like I just mentioned, I'd be doing some bench dips. I, no matter where you are, you can always do body weight squats. You can do push-ups. You can do it. Calisthenics is great. Is great. It's a great starting point. And if you never want to do anything else, it's perfectly fine. If you want to graduate to other stuff, that's fine too. But don't give up on yourself, brother. You can do it. Rob's in that. What's up? Home gym physique. Well, unfortunately, we all do that. We all do that. You know. And that's why I always talk about. Let me get. I got to do a body weight set. Let me get it in before I get cooled down. Oh, okay. Yeah. I forgot where I left off talking to Art. Yeah. So Art, we all do it. But I always talk about people make these New Year's resolutions. This is a true story. Let me tell this story real quick. A guy I worked with one time, we were talking. He said, "I want to start getting in shape." Da 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 da. We talked for an hour, and I said, "Well, you could do this. You could start here." And on and on and on and on. He had never worked out before in his life. This was in August. This was in August. We're having this conversation, an hour conversation. Towards the end of the conversation, I said, "Well, let's go. We'll get started whenever you want to start this week." Nah, well, I'm going on a cruise in November, so there's no sense in really getting into anything right now. And then you have the holidays. He goes, "So I'll start January. I'll start after the New Year." 4 months. He's going to wait 4 months because he's going on a cruise in 3 months, and then he's got Christmas, and everybody does it. Everybody does it. It's Christmas. There's always going to be Christmas. Unfortunately, there's going to be a Super Bowl every year, some bullshit that everybody flocks to. Then there's going to be another holiday. Then it's going to be July 4th. Then there's going to be a cookout. Then there's going to be a party and a birthday party. There's always going to be an excuse. Years ago, my son and I, back when he was a teenager, we started doing the program P90X. We started it the day before Thanksgiving. That was day one. It was a 90-day program. We started it on day one, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. And we worked out that day before Thanksgiving. We worked out on Thanksgiving, on and on and on. And we did the whole 90-day program. You have to start now. And getting back to you, Art, so you said you took some time off. Whatever happened, I don't know what the reason was, but we all do it. We all do it. But you can't let it go by the wayside because when it comes to this, unfortunately, it's true for me. It's true for everybody that does this stuff. It's always one step up and not two steps back. Sometimes it's three, four, and five steps back. You regress much quicker than you progress when it comes to this stuff. But the old adage, it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. It's so true. You can't. You have to make it long term. Like why people don't see this. Uh, Everybody does it with an end. I'm on a diet. I want to lose 20 pounds. No, you change the way you eat to optimize your health for the rest of your life, and you keep doing that on and on and on. It's not to say you're not going to go out and have, whatever, your pizza, your burger here and there. But if you're doing the right stuff the majority of the time, over time, right, it's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna hurt you. But these people that they let themselves go to shit, and then they'll join a gym and they might go a few times and they'll eat well for a couple of weeks and they don't really learn how to eat. They just think it's I'll starve myself. I'll do and unfortunately today, what is it? Everybody turns to the drugs, to these GLP, the Ozempic and all this shit guys on all these guys on TRT. Everything's TRT is like the fountain of youth and it's a benign thing. Hey, I'll just stick this needle in my ass every couple of weeks and I'm gonna be fine. There's ramifications for that, right? There's gonna be issues. There's gonna be issues. All right, so I did 40. What I do? 55 pounds. I'm gonna go to 45 pounds. I'll work my way back now. All right, that was 45. We'll do a body weight. We'll drop it to 35. Joey Fitz here. What's up, brother? How are you doing? Thanks, Art. Pro Pixels in the house. Yes, you're right. Is it Zoho? Yeah, we were just talking about that. The dips are, what do they call them? Upper body squats, right? I don't know. I got this off Amazon. It's really solid, to be honest with you. It's adjustable. I actually have to put it up a little bit higher because I don't like doing the dip so much. I have to bend my knees right now. But I got that off Amazon, like most everything in my life. I think it was reasonable for it was maybe 130 bucks, 140 bucks. Uh, but it's solid. Maybe maybe when I'm done, I'll put the link in the description. But it was definitely an Amazon pickup. Yeah, I mean Walmart. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean you don't need much. Believe me, you don't need much, and most of them are pretty solid. Um, but like I said, I picked this up off. I paid another. I bought another one, which was a total waste of money. I paid like over 200 bucks for it. It's actually out in the yard. If you ever see some of my workout videos, I'm out in my backyard, and I have dip bars back there. It's by a company. They're called Base Blocks, I think. Base Blocks, and there was I saw an advertisement. It was like fancy advertising. I thought they looked really solid. And then when I got it, I was like really disappointed. I mean, I still used them, but this for whatever it was, 130 bucks or whatever, much more solid, much more sturdy. I just what you live and learn. Yeah, so I was not happy with the. I was not happy with. I have the dip bars, like I said. If you look at some of my other videos, and I'm in my backyard, I'm outside working out. There's a set of dip bars next to me, and that's the base blocks. I don't like. I don't like it. Much. Well, you're talking about the power towers, like just like a that has the pull up bar and the dip handles on it. There's a million of those on Amazon. That's how I started out actually when I first started calisthenics. I bought my first one off Amazon and that. The only thing I don't like about those is that the majority of them are too short. I'm 6 foot tall, right? And I much prefer to do pull-ups with my legs straight. I think that's the way they should be done. And ideally that's the way you should do them. And I can't do that on, the one that I had was probably like the standard size. I forget how 80 whatever. No, maybe it wasn't 80. Maybe, yeah, I don't know, 80 something inches, whatever. But I was doing pull-ups with my legs, with my knees bent and my feet behind me, which is uncomfortable. So again, depending on your height, uh, but if you have nothing else and you're limited in space, you know, actually, I would look more for a doorway pull-up bar. Um, but if you want to get into doing the dips, yeah, and they're really cheap. There's a million of them, like I said, on Amazon. But my biggest complaint with those is they're not tall enough, and you're probably not going to find one taller than the one I had, to be honest with you. So uh, I'm getting long-winded, but the short answer is the size of it. But yeah, if you're going to get started, it's a good piece of equipment to get started with for sure. You're not going to go wrong. No, they're actually, yeah, you're right. They are a little wide, a little slightly wider than I like. But no, they're not angled. They're straight back. It's one width, the whole length of the bar. So, but they're slightly. I think like a standard, if there is a standard, but basically like 24 inches is about kind of what you want. And I guess that's just slightly wider than that. All right, Kat. I'm sorry I missed you. Take it easy if you're still there. Yeah, so it never goes out of style. This stuff never goes out of style. I've had these dumbbells. I don't know if you could see. No, you probably can't. Maybe you could see them over there. Years and years and years, and they're always going to weigh 50 pounds and 40 pounds. That's never going to change, even if they're rusted up. Never goes out of style. Oh, she. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you popping in. Yeah, so and it's much. I'm much more comfortable doing them that way anyway. I mean, you like I said earlier, right? You do the best you can with what you have where you're at. Um, I've actually been to a couple of parks where the pull-up bars were, which I didn't get, were short to where I could just put my hands here and I still had to do them, with my knees bent, and it's not a comfortable position. I think I'm on a body weight set now, guys. I think I did 45 pounds. All right, so we'll do set with 35 pounds, then body weight, and then finish with 25. Try and get some push-ups in. Yeah, fresh. That's the one thing. When you talk about, I'm not talking about like vitamin or mineral supplements, but if you want to use the term bodybuilding supplements, the only thing that I would ever suggest is creatine. Creatine is cheap as dirt, and if you're going to get a benefit from anything, it's definitely going to be creatine. So, and like they've been studying it over and over and over, and that is even more. You'll read some new studies on it about the cognitive benefits and this. I don't see a downside to it. I really don't. Some people might say, "Well, I did it and I didn't get any benefit." Well, okay, you tried, but it didn't hurt you. That's for sure. And for the price, especially when you compare it to all this, the supplement industry is Wild West City. You have no idea what you're getting. You have no idea what you're getting. I look at some of these companies. Sometimes I go down these rabbit holes and I'm watching. I'm looking at this stuff. There are companies that, I mean, there's class action lawsuits that you don't know about these companies, and then they just change their name. And you always see something and whenever you see something that says proprietary blend, it's shit. They could be sweeping up the floor and putting it in the can and selling it to you for 50 or $60. You have no idea what it is, and that's why they do that, so they don't have to tell you. And as far as the efficacy of these things, like if there is a benefit, they'll tell you this has X, Y, and Z in it, and this amount, right? And you see some of these things, where people test them, and it'll have much less than what they said, and there's a lot of cases where it doesn't have any of what they said is in it. So just pure plain creatine monohydrate. None of these creatine gummies. That's all they're doing with that is taking a piece of candy and putting a little creatine in it, and people take them because it tastes like candy. Plain, grow up. It's plain creatine monohydrate. Take a scoop. You could even dry scoop it. Drink some. Make sure you drink some water with it, and you'll be perfectly fine. Give it a shot. There you go. Post workout creatine. Yeah, HMB2 fresh. That's another one. So I was reading on that, and again, you don't know. It's something. That's another one where I think you can garner a benefit from it. I don't think it's going to hurt you, but actually, if you really delve into it, it kind of says that it benefits more somebody really in my age group, somebody who's getting a little older. It helps you maintain muscle and even build some muscle as you get older. That's not to say that there can't be a benefit, for younger guys too. But HMB is another one. I don't always, I don't recommend it to people all the time. But yeah, that would be one that I would say give it a try. And then basically the dose on that is going to be about, I think it's 3 grams a day. Um, but you have to watch too because that could give you a little bit of gas if you take that HMB on an empty stomach, the full dose. So sometimes they'll tell you to whack it up throughout the day. Maybe take like 3 small doses throughout the day. But like anything, you have to try it. But yeah, that's definitely worth a shot. Well, genetics always come into play, fresh. To some degree. To some degree, you're everybody's going to reach their genetic potential. That whatever they can do with their body. And you're right. There's always you could try the creatine and the HMB, but all of this other bullshit, the TRT and people taking Ozempic to lose weight, it's not natural. It's not natural. You know what I mean? Uh, it's a choice if you decide to do that. But I see so many guys, and then they come at you like, "Look at me, I'm in great shape, and I can do this because you're doing it because you're taking the TRT, and you're not doing it because you have some condition. You're doing it because you got a shitty lifestyle, and you're trying to overcome the shitty lifestyle with a needle. That's exactly what you because you want to say that hey, look at because really, if you take that stuff, you can you're gonna you're gonna lose body fat, and you're probably gonna put on muscle just by sitting on your couch to some degree, right? It's gonna obviously it's gonna be it's gonna be exponential with how much working out you do, but it's cheap. It's a cheat. And it's a personal choice if that's what you want to do with your body. But then don't come at me and say, hey, yeah, look at me. I can do this and I can do that and I look great and look at my selfie. You know, you're on drugs. It's a drug. And these people, the money they're spending on this Ozempic, and I mean, they're going down a dark road with stuff like that. You're going down a dark road because these doctors will sell it to you and they tell you, I've seen it. It's perfectly safe. First of all, there's nothing on earth that's perfectly safe. A glass of water isn't perfectly safe. So when they use that term, I don't want to go down it, but it's bullshit. Be natural. You can take things. You know, like I did a video. I'll talk about it more later on. But guys, if you're trying to maximize your testosterone, there's ways to do it. First of all, the best way to maximize your testosterone is don't do the things that destroy your testosterone. But people don't want to do that. They want to still do what they're doing and find some type of hack because they don't want to change. So you stop doing what's destroying your testosterone or minimize it as best you can. And then you could add stuff in that's going to help you. And there are supplements, there's ways to eat, you know what I mean? A little zinc, whatever. There are things out there that you could use to help maximize and do better. So I think I'm on 35, guys. I'm getting off track here. I'm cooling down too much. cooling down a little too much, guys. We're giving out the advice for free tonight, Fresh. It's a snowstorm special. The food is always the biggest part for people, Fresh. You can usually get people, you can get them charged up and work out till their arms fall off. But you ask them to stop eating cookies, it's not going to happen. People struggle with the food because it's an addiction. They don't want to admit it. They don't believe it. Not me. I'm not addicted. Everybody's addicted to the junk food. Everybody is addicted to it, myself included. And it's a constant battle. But if you care about your body and your health enough, you'll do everything you can to fight it and not just fall back on your bullshit excuses. Well, you know, you only live once, so you got to enjoy yourself. Now, you only live once, so you have to take care of your body. What's the mentality there? You only live once, so I'm going to do everything I can to destroy my body as often as I can, you know, because I want to live my best life. And if I'm not drinking booze and getting high and eating until I got to shit my pants, I'm not living my best life, you know? One more set with 25 pounds. Thanks, Action. I appreciate you popping in, brother. I appreciate the kind words. All right, guys. So, like I said, started out way back when with the bench press tonight, and then we just hit the dips. I'm going to finish up with, I'll get some push ups in before I go. I hope you guys can see me over there. So I like to mix it up on the push-ups. I'll do some standard, I'll do some decline, a couple of Mike Tysons, just a little variety, hit the chest from a different angle. The Mike Tysons, that's another one, which is almost like a full body move, right? Because at that angle, you're catching much more shoulder, you're using your legs, engaging the core, right? So mix it up. It's the same but different. I started my last workout, I actually threw in some of those archers, and I used to be able to do them much more smoothly, but I was kind of tweaking my shoulder the last time I did them. So, but I have to get back into those a little slower than what I did. But yeah, when you're doing your push-ups, even if you only do push-ups, you want to mix it up. Do your flat, your standard, do your declines, do some inclines. Going to be a little bit of it, a little bit easier on the push. Throw in your Mike Tysons, do some close grip, do some diamonds, a little bit of everything. Yeah, you know, that's another one too. The deficit push-ups. I assume that's what you're talking about with the parallettes. I usually hit those when I'm at the park on the parallel bars, right? Because now you have your neutral grip and you're coming down, you get way more stretch on the side of the chest. So yeah, you definitely want to do those deficits too. That's a, okay. That's 100, guys. What do you get? Yeah, 50 standard, 50 on the floor, 25 decline, 20 plus. That's 100. Well, like we said earlier, Fresh, you're moving, you're moving, you're doing it. You're gonna get there. It's not, don't strive for perfection. Just every single day. It's like putting money in the bank. It's like investing money, and over time, it's the compound effect. You can't do something. People, they have no attention span. They want everything right now. Everything, and that's why I talked a little while ago about the TRT and these people sticking that poison in their bodies to try and lose weight. Just be patient and make it a party. It's a part of your life. You know what I mean? It's not something that I'm doing to reach an end goal. It's something that I'm doing every day. You're gonna slip. You're gonna slip like Art of War was here and he said he took some time off, right? Things are gonna happen. But you have to know that that's got to be the exception and not the rule. The time off isn't, you know, if you eat like shit 5 days a week and then on the weekend you go have a couple of chicken salad or whatever, you know, was grilled chicken salad, and say, look at me, I'm eating healthy. And comes Monday, you're right back to what you were doing. It's not going to work. On the flip side, if you're doing the right thing 5 days a week, you go out on a weekend and you go to hell with yourself, it's you're going to fare much better doing it that way. You have to look. You can't look at it with an end point in sight. The end point for all of us is going to be when we take our last breath. Every day, every decision you make should be like, is this going to help me to feel better? Is it going to maximize my health? I'm working out. Is it going to help get me stronger? You know what I mean? Is it going to keep me off pills? Is it going to keep me away from not wanting to take TRT and injecting some bullshit in my ass to try and lose 5 pounds just so I could eat cake? Right? It's got to be a lifestyle. Yep, action. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's those days, when you don't do anything and you start saying, like yesterday, I had every intention of working out yesterday, uh, but I was out there doing the snow and I used that as an excuse. And I said, there's no way I'm going to go today uh, doing nothing. I'm going to get a workout in today. So it's got to be part of your mindset. And it should be. It's not, and you shouldn't look at it as if you're torturing yourself or you're putting yourself out. You're right. You got to get into that mindset. I'm putting myself out if I don't do anything. So but people look at it in the reverse. Oh shit, I got to work out. Oh man, I can't believe I have to work out. I don't know how much red meat you're eating fresh, but I eat plenty of ground beef. um, Everything's there. you know the B12, the iron, plenty of good protein, right? Quality protein. um, I don't know. It depends on how much you're eating. I don't shy away from it. I love it. I love ground beef. I love a good steak. Um, and this is the stuff. This is what I don't get. Like people will the whole thing with eggs, right? For my whole life, eat eggs. Don't eat eggs. Cholesterol in the eggs is going to clog you. It's such bullshit. Egg protein is the gold standard when it comes to protein, right? Even on you want to call it a factory produced egg, the factory farming with the chickens and all. Even that is 1,001% better than having a bowl of cereal in the morning, you know, and white bread toast or whatever, or going into worse. What you see most people today is going into the gas station stores, coming out with God knows. I'm in there 6 o'clock in the morning getting a cup of coffee. People loading up on these sandwiches. I don't. God only knows what they're made of. couple of cans of C4, energy drinks at 6 o'clock in the morning. Uh, so no, they tell you don't eat salt. If you don't have salt, you're gonna die. They tell you don't eat eggs because it's cholesterol. It has nothing to do with your dietary cholesterol. For the majority of people, your body makes cholesterol. You need it or you're gonna die. And everybody's afraid of cholesterol, salt. Don't eat red meat. That are they telling you don't get high? Look at what they. I live in New Jersey, right? Dispensaries now, like weed dispensaries, are just as common as a liquor store, right? They don't tell you, you're not going to go to your doctor. He's not going to tell you don't drink booze. Oh, cut back a little bit. But don't eat red meat. Don't put. They have everybody on salt restricted diets. And what happens when you have a heart attack? I was just talking to a good friend of mine about this. What's the first thing they do when you have a heart attack and you go to the hospital? They put an IV in you. And you know what's in that IV? Salt, right? But salt is going to kill you. But they'll shoot a bag of salt into your body. It's 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 a clown world what they're doing to people, and people buy into it. Got the compression boost. Okay. Yeah, I don't shy away from it. There again, fresh. Like you have two eggs. Like why would you be afraid of eating eggs? There's nothing wrong with having eggs. There's nothing wrong with it. You know. You want to argue again, but everybody's eating the same thing. Like the way even the beef, the factory farming, it is what it is. But it's the best that we can get. It's the best we have access to. It's way better. It's way better than what's wrapped in cellophane and boxes that sit on store shelves for years, for decades without going bad. Something's wrong if you're putting that in your body. If you're putting something that doesn't go bad, in 10, 15 years, that's not food. There's no vitamins, there's no minerals, there's no nutrients to be had from that shit. And they don't steer you away from that. But now you just made a statement. Well, I have two. I mean, is it because you're leery about eating the cholesterol? I think that's I don't agree with that thought process, to be honest with you. I'm with you on that action. That's what I get is the 93.7, and not so much because I'm fat phobic, but from a calorie standpoint, you know, you want to look at that. You want to look at that because you want to make sure that you're maximizing your protein. You're getting the carbs around you, certainly around your workouts, like the good carbs. And that's the other thing. When you say to people, yeah, well, I could have carbs, right away they think it's candy and donuts and cookies and cakes. No, it's vegetables, fruits, white rice, things like that. I told you, Rob. No, 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 no competitions for me. Uh, they don't have any anyway around here that I know of. I've never heard of one, especially for old guys like me. So I did 100 push-ups. I'm gonna try and get 100 more. There you go. Action, do you have a channel? Do you have a channel, Action? I like the way you think, brother. But Fresh, see, even there, like the whole glycemic index thing, like, do you have blood sugar issues? Do you have any insulin resistance going on? Like, why would you even, if you're eating a relatively whole foods diet and you're otherwise healthy, there's no need to even be worrying about that. And you don't even the glycemic index. There's also something called the glycemic load, which takes into account the amount of it that you're eating. So it's all convoluted. But people look at stuff like that. Just eat whole foods. Now, if you have some insulin resistance going on, you have to tweak your diet in order to get that straightened out. And the first thing to do in that case is to get rid of the processed foods. Number one, first and foremost. So anybody who has any excuse, if you're eating, if you have any type uh, of issues, especially if it's insulin resistant, any type of physical illness or anything going on with your body, you've got to get rid of the processed foods. It's not natural to be put in your body. And then you find a way to eat, like you asked me about the red meat, right? For some people, maybe not red meat, whatever, and everybody's going to react to different foods differently. But you have to put the time and effort into finding out what works for your body. And if you're worried about the glycemic index, I'm assuming maybe, or do you have any, again, are you insulin resistant? Are you pre-diabetic, diabetic, which is the same thing basically? Um, you know, testing your blood sugar. They won't give you an insulin test, which is the way to do it. Fasting insulin, they don't do that routinely. So the only tool you have there is testing your blood sugar. So when you eat your meals, and if you're eating a relatively well-rounded meal, the protein, good real carbs, a little bit of fat on the plate, you shouldn't be having massive sugar spikes of any type of food, really, other than maybe like drinking olive oil, is going to give you some type of sugar spike in your body, right? It's natural. That's the way it works. And then the insulin comes and it shuttles the glycogen into your cells, the sugar, the glucose into your cells. That's the way the body's made to work, right? But if you're eating something, if you're eating anything, and you're having this massive blood sugar spike and it's staying up for a long time, well, you have some insulin resistance. There's something going on there. And you have to look at that. But I'm going to hopefully get these last 75 push-ups in and go have a meal. I'm not worried about a glycemic index. I don't care about it. I'm probably going to have some ground beef or maybe some sardines, um, maybe a couple of pieces of sourdough bread, have some type of vegetable. I'll eat a bunch of fruit. I have some dried mangoes, maybe a couple of bananas, maybe an apple. Put some honey on it. I don't give a shit about a glycemic index. You know, everything I'm going to eat is real food. It's the best food that I can get my hands on. None of it is going to be wrapped in cellophane. You know, um, if you're putting good stuff in your body over time, don't be worried about a glycemic index. I wouldn't be. I'm not telling you how to live, but Well, fresh. If your spikes are insane, you definitely got some insulin. I'm not trying to diagnose you here, but you have some issues going on, right? That shouldn't be. I mean, were you? I don't know how you were eating before. I don't know what your weight was like. What your overall health was like. But yeah, certainly now, if you're having crazy blood sugar spikes with whatever you're eating, um, if you can't handle that sugar load, there's an issue going on, and you have to deal with that accordingly. But over time, you can do it. You'll get some insulin sensitivity back, you know. But you're not going to do it by eating cupcakes. It's never going to happen. And that's why people are content to take the metformin and then eventually inject insulin because they just don't want to change their lifestyle. No, I like to eat this. I like to eat it. Well, it's destroying your body, systematically destroying your body over time. Yeah, but I like that. I always ate that. Well, look at you. Look at the shape of you now. You still want to eat it? Yeah, I like it. I'll just take my insulin. No big deal. And I know people like that. And it's a personal choice. I don't agree with it at all. All right, Action. Yeah, I was just asking because I was going to tell everybody to go and check it out. I like you got some good ideas. I do not jog. Any cardio I get is when I'm doing my calisthenics workouts or I have an elliptical machine here. I do that. Dips are the upper body squat. I do some burpees occasionally. Fresh, why did you have to cut out carbs? Cut out all carbs? 35 more. Mostly I did. I just got done doing weighted calisthenics. All right, Fresh. How often are you checking your blood sugar? You have a CGM or you pricking your finger? And when you say complex carbs, what are you talking about? When people say complex carbs, a lot of people, excuse me, are talking about oatmeal, um, brown rice. Uh, you know, Unfortunately, that's it's going to do the same. Whole wheat bread. They're going to the store and buying a loaf of Pepperidge Farm whole wheat bread. That's total shit. It's total shit. That's not going to help your cause. I'm not saying that you're eating that, but my point is, complex carbs Any mainstream doctor is going to give you total bullshit. Go to the American Diabetes Association, go to their website, and what they tell you to eat, what they tell diabetics to eat. It's criminal. It's criminal what they're telling people to eat. It really is. And your doctor doesn't know any better. If he's a, I'm talking about if he's a mainstream, conventionally trained general practitioner, and you're pre-diabetic, which is diabetic, whatever they want to, however they want to frame it. What they tell you is just it's so backwards and it's so harmful. Uh, they're not doing it. Are you on metformin? Did they give you the metformin yet? Because that's if they didn't, that's coming, right? If you don't legitimately reverse it. No, I did the bench press first, and then I did dips, and I'm finishing up with push-ups. I weigh 190. I am 62. That's I could see their action where you don't have time for a channel if you're doing all that. Do I take protein? I eat protein. I have the occasional protein shake, but few and far between. Every now and again, but I don't rely on that to get my protein. If that's what you're asking, no. I eat meat. I eat sardines, but I don't use like protein shakes or bars or anything like that as a way to get in the protein that I think I need. Store bought bread is absolute shit. You might as well go out in the yard and scrape up some dog shit. I would eat that first. There's probably more nutrition in the dog shit. When you say you reversed hypertension, fresh, I know we can't get too far into it because we're just in a chat here on YouTube, but I'm not talking about following. Well, okay, so you didn't do follow up blood work, so you don't know what. I'm assuming right now, as we speak, you don't know what your A1C is. You're not testing your blood sugar on a. You should be testing your blood sugar after every meal, right before each meal, and a couple of hours after each meal, without a doubt. You have to know what these foods are doing to your body. You know, it can be done. It can be done, but it takes work. It takes work. Yeah, I don't know what is it, Mosley. I just eat some sourdough bread. Three ingredients: water, dough, and some salt. Well, there again, fresh. You should have. I have a wrist monitor. It works just fine. You can get a decent. You should be checking your blood pressure when you wake up in the morning, throughout the day, before you go to bed at night. Yeah, Hyacinth. That's basically what I do. I'm sort of like a hybrid. I go back and forth. Like I said, tonight was a push workout, so I started out with the bench press, and then I went into some dips, and I alternated between body weight and weighted dips, and now I'm just finishing up. Hopefully, I'm going to finish up these 200 push-ups. Uh, Mostly no. The bread I get, somebody actually bakes, But you can find it. You know what I mean? But you'll. That's the other thing. You'll go into a store like the supermarket by me. They have sourdough bread that they make at the store, and if you pick it up and look at it, there's 14 ingredients on it. You don't want that. But you can find it. You can definitely find it. But that's all you want to see on that package is flour, salt, you know, and yeast, maybe yeast. That's it. No reason to have anything else in the bread. You go to the store and you pick up a pack of whole wheat bread. It's gonna have high fructose corn syrup in it, preservatives, and this and that. And it's 14, 15 ingredients. That's not food. It's not food. But sourdough bread, it's Mo's like that's everything you eat. You want minimum ingredients. Everything that you eat. You know, like you go to the store and you pick up an apple. Where's the ingredient list? Apple, right? You pick up a tomato. Where's the ingredient list? Tomato. That's it. You know. Now you can make a case for the meat. I get it. The meat, the chicken, the beef, the chicken, everything that we. Um, to me, the cleanest thing that I eat would be sardines because it's a small fish. The mercury content is extremely low. It's granted it's coming out of the polluted ocean, but what are you going to do? You do the best you can with what you have right where you're at. Um, so you want to talk about what they feed the animals? Yeah, it's not good, and that's we're putting that in our body. But I'd rather go to the store and get some 93.7 ground beef and make it here at my house than go to McDonald's. God only knows what kind of science experiment you're eating there between the bun, right? So, what's up, Frank? Frank, it's a lot to say, on a chat here on YouTube, but what I was just talking about, you shouldn't be really putting anything in your body that has an ingredient list, you know, and just real food, real food. What am I talking about? Eggs, meat, chicken, fish, vegetables, fruits, you know, that's stuff that you can eat and get satiated, and at some point you'll stop eating it. Processed junk food, you're never going to stop eating. And it's all by design. They spend billions and billions and billions of dollars to keep us eating it. It's all part of it. It's not food. It's chemicals put together to taste good, the texture of it, the feel of it in your mouth, everything. The dopamine hit you're going to get from it. It's a drug. They're making a drug that you chew on and swallow. You get a big belly from, unfortunately. Oh, my friend Ronan. Hey, Ronan. Good morning. This morning. Shout out to Israel. I hope you're safe, my friend. Hyacinth as often as I can. And again, here I would be moving at a much quicker pace. Obviously I'm here, going back and forth. But when I do calisthenics, when I do body weight workouts, I try and go as quickly as possible. I don't like to rest. Obviously, I bench press earlier, so you're going to take rests, right? Because you don't want to drop the weight on your head. But um, I try and make them as intense as possible when I'm doing for me. When I'm doing, for me, what I think is intense. I mentioned earlier when I do a bench press, I get antsy with, waiting 2.5 minutes in between sets. So I do jumping jacks to keep my heart rate up. You know, um, I like the superset. I think superset is a great way to go to keep the momentum going. I'm not a big fan of doing a set of anything, and it drives me out of my skull when I go to a gym and I see guys and I see it every without fail, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not. It's not hyperbole. Every single time I'm in a gym, I see somebody sitting on a bench, sitting on a machine. They'll do a couple of reps, and then they have the phone and they're scrolling and they're texting. And it's why? Just stay home. Stay home. You know what I mean? Don't gum up the works. Just you're not doing anything. You're not helping anybody. And as far as how often, pretty often. Like I said, that if I have something that's bugging me, like the past many months, I've been having a couple of issues with my elbow that kind of comes and goes. It depends on how I feel, but I try and do something. I can honestly say there's not too many weeks where I don't go 5 days without getting a workout in. So as often as I can. Thank you, CM. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. I don't know how cool and knowledgeable I am. That's up for debate, but I appreciate you being here. Oh, Mosley, that's you. Okay. What are you doing? You switching hats on me? Action, you too, brother. Stay well, all right? I appreciate you popping in. I appreciate the support. You're talking about on the produce, Mosley? You're talking about that number nine on the. I get organic when I can, but I'm not too anal about it. It is what it is. And that's the other thing. Who's policing that with the organic produce? They're still using pesticides. There's always going to be some pesticides, and they're always going to coat it with that wax and stuff like that. Um, but you know, who's policing how much pesticide they're using and what type of pesticide? I think most of it's on the honor system, and food companies don't have any honor. Believe me. Yeah, you're right, Fresh. The smaller the better because they have a uh, less of a lifespan too. Yeah, the sardines are an acquired taste, Mose, for sure. I doctor them up. I throw in some vegetables, maybe throw a little marinara sauce on top of them, um, or some lemon. Either way, I like them both ways. I think there's a place for a keto and a carnivore diet. Like the carnivore, a legitimate carnivore diet. Most people don't do it the right way. Either one, especially keto. Most people aren't eating a true keto diet. They think they're going to the store and they're buying some chocolate bar that says keto friendly, and they think I'm eating keto. But if you're doing a legitimate, the ketogenic diet was developed way back in the 1920s for people that had epilepsy. Um, and then there's also some studies on it, I believe, um, when it comes to autism and things like that, that it could have some benefits um, for kids, for their behavioral issues and things like that. There's a place for both. I don't think they're both very, very, very restrictive, and we don't like to be restricted. We don't like to be told you can't have that. People are people, so they just like when January 1st, New Year, new me. I'm going to start hitting the gym, and they go for 3 days and they stop. It's the same thing with these diets. Ketogenic diet is so restrictive. It doesn't entail going to the store and buying chocolate keto friendly snacks. Right? A ketogenic diet, you're eating 85% fat, 80% fat, maybe 15% protein, and trace amount of carbs. I think it's, what is it, 20, 30, not even 50 grams, and 50 grams of carbs is nothing. It's really almost zero carb. It's not sustainable for most people, for 99.999% of people. And anybody who tells you I'm eating keto, I want to see exactly what you're probably not eating keto. You know, there's always that diamond in the rough. There's somebody that can do it. But I think that generally, if you do it, especially let's say the carnivore diet, very restrictive, and people are not going to stick to that long term. It's the ultimate elimination diet. So if you have health issues, you're gonna feel better on it. You're gonna improve. Listen, if you get away from any type of diet, whether it's even a vegan, I don't agree with that. If you go vegan for a while, if you go keto for a while, true keto, if you go true carnivore for a while, you're gonna improve the health issues that the standard American diet, that all this poison that you put in your body, it's wreaking havoc and destroying your body. So if you stop eating that and you put anything else in your body, you're going to improve. But to sustain that over time, I don't believe it can be done for 99.9% of people. So I think that if you want to do that for a while and then start introducing other stuff, I think the best way to go is really a little bit of everything. You want to have protein is always going to be the linchpin, because protein is the building block of every cell, every tissue, every organ in your body, right? Your body is made of protein. The carbs are always going to be the quickest, best energy source for you. But again, when I say carbs, I'm not talking about cookies. I'm talking about the two, tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, white rice, any vegetable, and really any whole fruit, any real fruit. So if you're going to do a diet like that initially, and you want to try it, but most people aren't going to do it the right way, and then you cycle into something where it's going to be more of a well-rounded diet. So there's a place for it, but I just don't think it's sustainable. Yeah, it's a sad cycle, and it's a cycle that most of us are living. And you can't convince people, you can't convince most people that that's what's doing it to them. They have no idea. They think that they caught some type of disease, and doctors will have you convinced. You have high blood pressure. Does your father have it? Yeah. Well, there you go. It's genetic. You have diabetes, type two diabetes. Yeah. Does your mother have it? Yeah. Well, it's genetic. Of course, you're going to get it. It's criminal what they're doing. It's criminal. It all starts with what you're putting. There's always going to be, you know, people that have a legitimate heart defect, people that have legitimate cholesterol, what do they call it? Hypercholesterolemia. There are certain people, but the percentage of people that have these issues is so minute compared to the people that are literally eating and drinking themselves to death under the guise of living your best life. And your doctor will convince you that it's genetics. And they'll even tell you, they'll go on the American Diabetes Association on their website. They'll tell you that type 2 diabetes is genetic, and all you can do is basically, what's the term that they use? Basically, live with it and just keep it under control. And for 99.9% of people, you can reverse it in a week. So, fresh, it doesn't mean you're a bitch. If you don't like them, you don't like them. I mean, you don't, there's always an alternative. It's just one that believe me, if you told me 10 years ago, hey, open up that can of sardines, I probably would have vomited. I couldn't do it, but and I don't eat them straight out of the can. Like I said, I doctor them up. I make a meal out of it. You know, uh, I no, I don't. Well, it depends. Heavy is relative, right? Um, I mean, I'm 62. My high water mark was back in the day. I think I benched like 325, 335, whatever it was. A little over 300 pounds back in the day. And then throughout the years, anytime I worked out benching, I toyed around with, in the 250 to 275 range. I was comfortable with that. Now, tonight I did a 5x5 with only 210 pounds, and I'm good with that. You know, I don't even know what I could. Hey, dude, how much can you bench? I don't even know right now, to be honest with you. But I'm fine with what I'm doing. David Jones is here. What's up, David? Yes, Moe's. It's probably well, yeah. They have the what is it? It's golfer's elbow and tennis. It's the same thing, but it depends on, I guess, on which tendon it is that's aggravated. And you know, I actually I don't have them on. I have a couple of I normally wear these compression on my elbow. I didn't put them on tonight for some reason, but they help. But I have a massage gun. I have a TENS machine, which is that shoots the electricity into it. Um, and then you want to be doing some. I actually have a little machine that I bought on Amazon, a little gizmo. So you want to be doing, wrist curls both ways, and that'll help strengthen that. But it seems to when it first and I know exactly how I did it. I got stupid with weighted pull-ups, and once it happens, it's kind of hard to if you're going to keep working out, you really have to take care of it and rehab it. You know what I mean? But I find that especially when I'm doing the pull-ups now, and I should have had it on tonight when I was doing the dips, but that'll help a little bit. Ronan, yeah, probably once a week lately. Yeah, I've probably been doing it once a week. Like I was talking earlier, like for a long time I didn't bench for the longest time, and then when I did, it was dumbbells, and then it was just I don't know what did I say? Maybe it was like last summer I got back into doing some barbell bench pressing. So yeah, probably I at least get a session in once a week. I'm not a fan of any farm raised fish. That was easy for me to say. I'll try it again. I'm not a fan of any farm raised fish. You can make the case that hey, it's no worse than any farm raised, cow or chicken or whatever, but I don't eat it. I don't eat it. Really, for me, the only fish that I eat is the sardines, but nothing. I don't eat anything farm raised. I appreciate that, brother, but I'm certainly not in a class with Akeem and D3. Those guys are. I don't think they're from this planet. Yeah, I don't. I'm not into the vegan thing, fresh. Frank, I mean, fasting. It's a good way to regulate the way you eat, but it's not some magic. That's the other thing. People think that you know I'm going to fast 16 hours a day and then I'll eat 8 hours a day, and people think it's a license to just pour shit down your throat for 8 hours. That's not it. That has nothing to do with the whole thing. It's a way of, especially like fresh here, like for somebody like him who's insulin resistant with the diabetes. It's going to keep that blood sugar down. Keep the insulin. If you're not eating anything for 16 hours, it's going to work. And then naturally, you know, you shouldn't be able to eat all that in 8 hours. So it's going to help you naturally reduce your calories. But it's not a diet. 16-8 or even 18-6 or 20-4. Um, it's not a diet per se. You still have to be putting good stuff in your mouth. It's just a way to regulate your eating patterns because most of us, from the minute we wake up in the morning, we're throwing shit in our trap until we go to bed at night. So it's really just, intermittent fasting is not a diet. It's a scheduled way of eating to help you build habits. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, I don't have anything against the smoothie, Mose. I mean, I don't. If I do make a protein shake, I do throw in some frozen fruit. Um, but again, I don't drink them every day, and I don't look at them as, I'm getting it. I'd much prefer to eat whole fruit, whole vegetables, because you have the fiber. Especially somebody who's got blood sugar issues. You want that fiber to help slow the sugar absorption. But if you're perfectly healthy and you want to make yourself a smoothie and throw, you know, um, actually the sea moss I haven't had in a while. I actually ordered it bulk from a place, one of the islands, I forget, but my brother and I usually get a big load of it, and I was taking that for quite some time. But it's all good. I mean, it's whatever. Listen, Mose, if you're healthy, as long as you're not eating Fruit Loops. If you're throwing Fruit Loops in a smoothie, then I have an issue with you. Then we're going to talk. It's habits. You're 100% right. Good, Frank. I'm glad to hear you reversed it. Calisthenics are the way to go. Like I said that earlier. What is it, brochacho? Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. I believe that's what I have. Is some tennis elbow, and it's a pain when it flares up. It can be a pain, especially at night. It really can be a pain. Fresh. What are you talking about? You talking about your blood sugar at 320? Mose, I have not done a one rep max. You're talking about? Are you talking? I guess you're talking about weighted, right? Not a number, not reps. Oh yeah. Well, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? I'm getting loopy here. A one rep max. No, I haven't. I haven't. Um, Sometime back, I did do. I had 100 pounds on it, and I did get 10 reps. They weren't the cleanest reps, so maybe not. I don't know. And the pull ups, I never did more than 65 pounds, and I was trying to get reps with that. I was doing like 3 to 5 reps with that, and I think that's what caused the elbow issue. So I don't go anywhere near that now. The other day, I did some weighted pulls, and I was only doing um, 37 and a half pounds. Prior to that, I did 35. Yeah, so I really backed off big time on that. I'm really not looking to max out. Especially now. I say that only because I have this, and thankfully it's gotten better, and I can deal with. I can still work out. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, a certain. But I know that it was those pull-ups that did it. Brendan, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Well, there's other things that stimulate autophagy too. Um, is it iris? I'm sorry, I can't read that. Yeah, but and how long does it take to stimulate the autophagy? Some people will tell you it's 18 hours. Some people tell you it's 24 hours. But you're chasing autophagy, like just exercise, eating the right things. And again, there are certain things that trigger autophagy. It's not just fasting. That's all you need, Frank. That's all you need. I love the dates, Mose. I'm a big fan of the Majul. They're they're like they're like they're my candy, to be honest with you. You know what I did? I got a bag of Deglet dates because they're a little less sweet. Because I can't, talk about being addicted. I eat a couple of dates and I'm just gonna go. I go crazy with them. They're delicious. They really are. Mose, is that your channel name? CM1. Everybody go check out Mose. I'll have to go check you out. 64207. And you pulling nine. Okay. All right. I'm gonna check you out, brother. Yeah, well, there's a lot of fiber in the dates, like I talked about earlier. That's why I prefer eating the whole fruit. So you get that fiber. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the back and forth. Um, I got to get out of here for now, but I'll be back. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, get your reps in, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.